Columbia students defy deadline to clear Gaza war protest encampment. Live updates. Student protesters at Columbia gathered at the center of the encampment for a rally ahead of the university's 2 p.m. ET Monday deadline for students to clear the encampment or face suspension. "No business as usual," demonstrators chanted. "There is only one solution, and intifada revolution." Some of the students reportedly voted to ignore the deadline and stay at the encampment. "We will not move until Columbia meets our demands, or we are moved by force," a news release from the students said. They were not alone. Faculty members, donning orange safety vests, joined students in rallying near the encampment. "We salute you, we stand with you," Shanna Redmond, a professor of English and comparative literature, told the crowd from a megaphone. "And we're so proud to be your professors." At GW in Washington, "We're being disruptive," protester says. Posters reading, "End all U.S. aid to Israel," and "Resistance is justified in the face of genocide," interspersed the tents covering University Yard, an outdoor square on the Washington, D.C. campus of George Washington University on Monday afternoon. Students sprawled on blankets on the grass and sketched pro-Palestine messages in chalk on the sidewalk as scattered groups of officers with Metropolitan Police Departments circled the park. Officials with the MPD, which operates within the Washington metro area, rejected requests from the university to clear the encampment Friday morning, fearing the optics of a clash with peaceful protesters less than a mile from the White House, the Washington Post reported. "There is clearly a lot of pressure from the university and the university police for us to leave, because we're being disruptive. And we're being disruptive because there cannot be business as usual during a genocide," said Miriam Siegel, a 19-year-old sophomore at Georgetown University, who said she joined the encampment Thursday at around 5 a.m. when tents first went up in the square. At the center of the square, a Palestinian flag propped up by an orange security cone sat atop a tangled pile of security barriers. According to local news reports, student protesters pushed through a police barrier set up on one side of the park Sunday night. "We have seen some police aggression," Siegel said. "We know that the cops aren't here to keep us safe. We're here to keep each other safe." What are college protests across the U.S. about? The student protesters opposed to Israel's military attacks in Gaza say they want their schools to stop funneling endowment money to Israeli companies and other businesses, like weapons manufacturers, that profit from the war in Gaza. In addition to divestment, protesters are calling for a ceasefire, and student governments at some colleges have also passed resolutions in recent weeks calling for an end to academic partnerships with Israel. The protesters also want the U.S. to stop supplying funding and weapons to the war effort. More recently, amnesty for students and professors involved in the protests has become an issue. Protesters want protections amid threats of disciplinary action and termination for those participating in demonstrations that violate campus policy or local laws.